Okay, have at me. Change of scenery.
Yeah, you look like you're in a Muskoka Elementary School bathroom.
Well, I'm
that or a teacher's workroom, one of the two. Are you putting together your syllabus for
I am.
for algebra, sir?
Yeah, I am. I'm putting together the syllabus, so I'm almost done.
Mm-hmm.
I've been sitting here for about an hour working at it.
English lit. We're going to talk about Machiavelli or something.
Does it? So I've never thought it looked like this before, but I guess it does.
It does. No, well, you don't think about it because you're sitting there. The rest of us on the outside are sitting there going, "Man, that looks that looks like."
Do I need to put some I don't know. I need a. No.
It looks like,
if I get
one
a
of those
book.
bathrooms that we used to wander into when we were at elementary school that had the two-tone cement paint job. And it had your demarcation line just above the sink, and it's like you'd have the mirror. And the sink and the mirror would go just over the demarcation line where you'd have a little bit of it there. But yeah, you look like you're either in a teacher workroom or you're in the bathroom at said elementary school getting ready to sit there and go, God, I can't believe lunchroom is already over. And I have to go and teach fifth period. If it wasn't for you pesky kids.
So I'm never going to use this setup again. That's pretty much what is happening.
You know, maybe you get like I don't know, a curtain. Maybe you get something from the Sioux Greyhounds or something, and you put it behind.
I could do that.
I mean,
really, now I'm completely uncomfortable. Anyway,
and this is normal. This is normal from doing this show. When?
Right. No, I think this is a bit extra now
because you're the one that came up with the stupid sperm league last time.
I know.
You're
the amount of feedback,
and you're the one who's uncomfortable.
The amount of feedback I got from that has been quite extraordinary.
Kind of short.
Don't. No.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
You sure?
What are we going to talk? Oh yeah. Okay.
So you don't want me to take it in the pants for that one, huh?
No, I don't. Not at least till the end of the show, which you did so eloquently last time and completely threw me off. So when we cut the show off, or at least when I did, I kept going. I don't know, for 2 minutes. You had me just. I couldn't stop.
Can't take you. Well, I mean, sometimes that's not a bad thing.
I know. Okay, we're gonna talk. We're gonna try to in this show. Bill Belichick.
Yeah,
there
you go. We're done. Yeah, we're moving on to vacation.
LeBron James. Again, this goes back to what we talked about last week about the Hennessy ad. Someone decides, I'm going to sue you because I paid all this money thinking you're going to retire.
Why? Well, that's a you problem.
I know. A neat thing concerning the Aussie Open in 2026, Carlos Alcaraz, you have a chance if you want to sign up for this. We won't get into it right now, but we'll later. It's a neat opportunity to try to play and beat in a mini tournament Carlos Alcaraz. So we'll talk about that in a bit, and we'll dive into, again, this contract by Connor McDavid, which is an absolute bargain. But I want to begin, John, with Major League Baseball.
Sure.
And I was looking at trying to begin with the whole Blue Jays thing, but maybe I'll wait for that in just a second, because what we saw last night was one of those moments in sports and one of those moments in Major League Baseball that you do not want to have happen and do not want to see happen to anybody on any team on any given day. So last night, the Dodgers up 2-1 in the series against the Phillies, NLDS. They're leading, it's tied at 1. And Orion Kerkering was on the mound for Philly. So there were 2 away, bases loaded, on contact, John. That means every Dodger on the base paths was going to move. They were in motion. It was a shot back to Kerkering. He fumbled it a bit. It went in front of him, I don't know, by 3, 4, 5 feet.
Yeah.
And then he decided to come home with the throw. It was late. It was wide. Rather than going to first base to get what probably would have been a sure third out, you never know. Yeah. It was a tough play. And then they would have continued on. That would have been the game. So that is an awful way, John, I feel, for him to end not only a game, but the Phillies season.
Yeah, and in that moment, there are very few of us that know what that situation is like. I mean, literally, if you are, if you're Orion Kerkering and you got the bases loaded, everything is running through your brain. I mean, look, when I was an infielder or an outfielder, back in the late 1750s when I was playing the sport.
Well, you know what? Again, I think this is the third time you've said you look really good.
Don't I, though? I
Yeah,
look
you do.
damn good for being 300 and something years old. When you're trying to process information, and I mean, look, it could be something as simple as pickup league. It can be something as simple as playing it in a far lower level than these guys do. You are processing, okay, if this, then this, if this, then this, if this, then this. You're processing all this information, and then when something happens, literally it is, it's happening right in front of me, and then everything that you had plotted in your brain just scrambles and goes away, and you're trying to focus. I think that if it was something that wasn't necessarily being dealt with by Orion Kirkering, like if it was a grounder someplace else,
sure,
where you're backing a player up or something like that, then your brain isn't trying to process at 900 miles an hour. It's a dribbler in front of you. And you're sitting there and you're thinking, because what you see in that moment is, okay, ball's in front of me, bases are loaded, I see somebody sprinting down the third base line, and my thought is, okay, I got to take care of that problem and not think about stopping, grabbing the ball, pivoting, and throwing to first. You're focused on what's going on in front of you. And in all of that rush, everything just kind of falls apart, and I know that it will be something that will stick with Orion Kirkering for his entire life, not just his major league career.
No, true.
But for his life, and it will be something that he's going to have to navigate. It is going to have to be something that he is just going to understand in that moment, and you learn from it a couple of different ways. You learn from it athletically, you learn from it emotionally, and anyone, and I imagine this has happened, I haven't seen on social media, I imagine that this has happened, that some yahoo, some idiot, some moron has probably chased after him on the media that is social to sit there and go, well, why didn't you do, what, and you finish your sentence.
Tear him to shreds. You cost us our season. You cost us this, you cost us that.
Those geniuses are out there. And what I would do in that case is I would be the first person to sit there and go to Orion Kirkering and go, look, he's an idiot. This person is an idiot. Don't pay attention to anything that they're having to say.
No.
You don't get bogged down in that kind of stuff, and your teammates are there to lift you up in that kind of situation too.
And you know what? Number one about the teammates, yes, they will lift you up. They were disappointed, but again, probably at the moment they thought, what's he doing? The commentator said, whoa, hold on a second. And then you saw the catcher actually point toward first base. And to your point about, look, if I was pitching and I had that comebacker to the mound and it went off me, then it went to go get it. You're right. The eyesight that you have is more toward the person coming down from your right than it is, hey, how far to first base is the guy running to first right now? So I'm with you. I probably would have done the same thing. I thought, hey, this is the closest I have. If I turn around and pivot and throw, it could be in the second row of seats in about a second. The second thing with that is, to your point about these idiots who just send out different notes and stuff and saying, oh, you're this, you suck, you're whatever. Go home, stay in your home, and stay behind your computer, and stop putting yourself in front of the situation where if you put yourself in that situation, what would you do? Pedro Martinez said it best after. He said he felt sick for him, and he did say, look, you're going to get through this. We've all been there as a pitcher, as a player, as an athlete. And I think that he should look at this video of Pedro telling him what he did over and over and over again and realize even the best in the game, one of the best in the game was Pedro. He made some mistakes as well. Now, was this more costly than, say, Game 43? Absolutely it was. But at the same time, this is baseball, it's sports, and it's the human element, John, and we saw it last night.
And I give Orion Kirkering all the credit in the world. He stood in his locker
100%.
And answered all of the questions. He stood there. I mean, you could make a blanket assessment and compare him to Jazz Chisholm, but we're not going to do that.
No.
Orion Kirkering stood in his locker and answered all of the questions about it. And yes, I think it's the second time that an error has ended a postseason series in the history of Major League Baseball. Only the second time ever. And then you have geniuses that are posting things like this. And I did this while we were talking about it. I wanted to go onto the 280 character app and just see what the sample of moron is like. I'm not going to give the handle of the individual because they're not worth it.
Don't.
Of course, it was Orion Kerkering, the worst player in the league, crying emoji, ish emoji to end the Phillies season. Rob Schneider needs to be questioned for letting that ish can even go out and pitch in big moments. Kerkering is the opposite of clutch. Wow, glad I'm not into baseball like that. That's the kind of garbage that we call Twitter muscles. We have in the past.
Yeah.
You got Twitter muscles.
Yeah.
I would venture that if this individual who, as we're taping, sent this message out on the 280 character app within the last minute that you and I are talking. So literally in real time, folks are having this discussion about Orion Kerkering and saying what they want to say about it. I will give you dollars to Timbits that dude, under no circumstance, if he was in the same area code as Orion Kerkering, would have the grapefruits to say the same thing to him that he posted on the 280-character app.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stupidity that we all have to deal with in some manner, way, shape, or form. Just because you got a handle on the 280-character app doesn't mean you probably should be typing on it, but you still got to navigate that kind of crap that is out there for somebody like Orion Kerkering who's out there trying to make a living. Is Orion Kerkering going to your job and sitting there and saying things? Oh, you mistyped that. What you got to do? No,
Preach.
That's not happening in this case. So have a little empathy, have a little thought, think it through. Even though I know some of you won't, because it is that gut reaction. I'm a fan. I can say whatever I want. Sure, you can. You can buy a ticket. Doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want once you walk in the building. But when you say crap like this, I think it speaks to really who people, well, what social media people should not have in their possession. Keyboards should be like locked down under glass in situations like this for folks that want to say that kind of stuff on the 280-character app.
One of the easiest things to make your point, and if it's negative to somebody or something or whatever, is to do it behind a phone, in front of a phone, behind a computer, whatever it is. It's gutless. It really is, because you're right. There's no way that he would say that to his face. He'll be fine. He really will. Anyway, so the Dodgers advance in a way that even Dave Roberts, after when he came out, like you say, he put his hands on something. Oh my gosh, we actually won this thing. I can't believe it. So who knows what would have happened if it went back 2-2, back to LA. Speaking of the American League Divisional Series, so it's Game 5 tonight. This is Friday, between the Tigers and the Mariners. The winner moves on to face the Blue Jays, John, in Game 1 of the ALCS, which is coming up on Sunday in Toronto. Look at this. Look what I just put down. Look at the text.
Of course.
Are the Blue Jays cheating? So there is a Newsweek article, John, that came from, and you talk about social media. This came, and it stems from one tweet, and this has erupted from some individual on X. You and I still won't refer to it as Twitter.
They ain't paying me. I'm calling it what I want.
Yeah. This said individual said, quote, "Not even joking, at Major League Baseball, please investigate the Blue Jays organization. This is another Astros incident written all over it. This does not make sense. This is fishy. They're more than likely cheating." So this is a latest in a few conspiracy theories, John, that float around when it comes to the Blue Jays winning. Back in 2011, they were accused of sign stealing in an ESPN report, and in that one, it stated visiting players were, quote, enraged, John, when they saw a sight of a man dressed in white about 25 yards to the right out in the blue center field seats. I remember this. I remember this whole thing. And players watched the man in white signal pitches the visiting pitcher was throwing against the Jays, according to 4 sources. You and I both know in this business we do. We need at least 2. We need at least 3. Let's get as many as possible. 4 sources saying that this was the thing. This is an absolute joke. There's no cheating. Give the Jays their due. They beat the Yankees. They're a very good baseball team. This team is showing no signs of slowing down. If this person, said individual, was from New York, then I can understand a tiny, tiny bit why he's thinking, let's try to ruffle feathers and get these Jays off the perch that they're on. But to me, this is a fair game. and the Blue Jays won it in 4,
I mean,
and deservingly so.
well, there was one of the series going on. I want to say it was an American League series where you had the announcers complaining about sign stealing from a runner on second base who's sitting there and he's going like this and figuring. Look, if the dude at second base is thinking that he's got it pegged, I mean, or he's looking at the catcher and catcher's doing, this and all that. Look, if I can give you that kind of an advantage within 0.2 of a second and you can figure out in a windup, it's like, okay, this, okay, cool. If you can process all that information in a very short period of time, that's not Astrosian. That is not an Astrosian way of going about things. They were banging on garbage cans and all that kind of stuff. This is literally a dude 14 years ago who's in the stands wearing a white suit, probably took it from the guy that was heading the jugs gun behind home plate at Dodger Stadium in the Panama hat. And so he's out there in right center doing whatever he's doing 14 years ago. I don't know what he's doing now. Maybe he's at Zeller's or something. I don't know.
He sells men's suits.
Probably. I mean, he's at Men's Warehouse or whatever.
He's in Men's Warehouse.
He's at Men's Warehouse selling suits to anybody that wants to wear a white suit after Labor Day. LABOUR. So you've got that, and you've got a guy at second base this year who is apparently trying to help. And if you can process the information of a runner taking a lead at second base, staring at a catcher, going like this, and figuring it all out, and maybe figuring it out, and maybe it's wrong because you don't know what the inverted flip, it's like if I do this, then that means, go the other way. I mean, it's still a crapshoot trying to figure out, okay, is he saying the right thing? Do I pay attention to that? Do I swing or not swing? And all that happened in about 0.2 of a second. I don't quite necessarily have the mental processes to make sure that all of that happens. I'm more locked in on the dude who's throwing me the ball as opposed to the guy I'm trying to knock in from second base on a single. Yeah. So, look, if they process that information and it turns out to be a positive in a non-Astrosian manner, great. You're out there at second base. You're trying to get a leg up. I get it. I understand it. It's not Astrosian in nature. The dude wearing the white suit in right center field, more power to you. This time of year, you're absorbing all of the sunlight, and you're probably overheating in that suit anyway. God knows how many times he had to go inside to the Hard Rock, get a $9 soda, come back out and sit there and do his job all over again. Give it a rest. You have to think about all of the different processes that have to work for it to be considered cheating.
But they don't.
No, because it's about the instant reaction. It's about the instant analysis and about, yes, I'm right, and you've got to do something about it. No, I don't.
Okay, instant analysis is the Jays are the better team. The Jays were the better team. They were up 2-0. They were down up 2-1. They lost Game 3, but then they came back and they won Game 4. So at the end of it all, the Jays were and are a better baseball team.
But you were cheating.
Whatever.
All I got to say is just go back and watch the Grand Slam in French. That'll cleanse your palate.
Oh, extraordinary. Loved it too when Vladdy Jr. was interviewed after they won, and he was interviewed on Fox, and Derek Jeter was on there, A-Rod and Poppy, David Ortiz, and when Vladdy said, "Die, Yankees lose."
Oh, yeah, John Sterling. John Sterling coming back to haunt through the voice of Vladdy Guerrero.
And you had Vladdy and you had Poppy, Ortiz in the split screen, and then they went to A-Rod, who was getting more ticked off as they kept doing it. Then you went to Jeter, who was also getting more ticked off. But look, you've got Poppy beside you, who was a Red Sox, and they went at the Yankees so many times. And now you have Vladdy, who adamantly said, I remember a number of years ago, he's like, I'm never going to play in New York. I'm not going to do it. He's public enemy number one. And remember when he stepped up to the plate in Game 3, hit an absolute bomb in the first inning, and to silence the crowd. And so, look, they're going to remember that next year in that first game in the Bronx.
Look, they're going to remember that forever and ever, and I know that Vladdy is going to continue to revel in that, because if he is public enemy number one and representing an entire nation in hating the evil empire, I mean, look, Vladimir Guerrero right now is Luke Blanken Skywalker going up against Darth Vader and the Death Star, and you've done that. And so now what happens, when you go to the next trilogy and you see what happens there.
Going to be fun. Jays again. Game 1 against either Detroit or Seattle. That's coming up
cheating.
Oh, stop. Hey, you got to cheat to win sometimes. Look at
You're
that
not
one at the
cheating. You're
bottom
not
here.
trying, and it's only cheating if you get caught. Yes.
Yeah. So has UNC Belichicked out on Bill?
No, I don't know about.
So there's a
I
report
don't know
now.
if they've checked out on this or
Okay,
not.
hold on, Bill. You can respond in just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just get this report out to the people that don't know what's happening.
Sure.
So the report is now that is Belichick's tenure at Chapel Hill coming to a close. So according to an individual who works for a subsidiary outlet of CBS, there's potential exit strategy discussions, John,
Yeah.
that have started at UNC.
Mm-hmm.
They're 2-3, so it's not like this team is 0-5, but there's so much other stuff involved in Bill Belichick from his very much younger lady friend that he is with. There's reports emerging that an assistant coach was suspended for providing extra benefits.
Yes, that's it.
There's some other violations that maybe have occurred. We also know that Bill Belichick banned Patriots coaching personnel from coming on board and looking at some of the team. So there's a lot here. He signed that 5-year deal. I think it was $50 million.
Sure.
So if this is true, Belichick's looking to try to get out of this thing, for one. And then at the end of it all, UNC's thinking maybe we made a big mistake. I will say this. Even if the team was 5-0, which I really hardly think that anyone on that club thought that they would be 5-0 at that school after the 5 games, I think this was a bad mistake. I firmly believe that there are many coaches in sports, women's, men's, boys, girls, whoever. Many coaches in sports that do well at one level and don't do as well at another. I believe that Bill Belichick cannot coach very well in any other league outside of the National Football League. It doesn't matter. Maybe it does matter a little bit, obviously, if you have a better team. Totally understand that if you're number one in the nation. But I just don't think he's cut out for it. And there's so many off-field distractions, John. This is turning into a circus.
Turning into right now, just to let everybody know, they are 2-3.
Mm-hmm.
If you watched the first game against TCU, you could tell that when you have north of 40 individuals transfer in to be a part of the new Bill Belichick experience in Chapel Hill, it's going to take a while for all of that to get adjusted to one another and figure out your game plan and all that kind of stuff. The 2 wins that North Carolina has this year, at Charlotte and against Richmond, who is a 1AA/FBS, however old you are, whatever your reference is, program.
Mm-hmm.
Then you lose at UCF and you get thumped. Then you lose at Clemson and you get thumped. So your wins are against a group of 5 school in Charlotte and a 1AA program in Richmond. Your next schedule this is your bye week. And there have been reports that trying to get in touch with Belichick, the senior, can't find ways to get in touch with him. He's in Nantucket on vacation, doing whatever. And this is the bye week. There's a wonder whether or not UNC is even going to beat the bye week and go into the matchup at Cal at 2-5. So
hold on. So would that be the first team in history to not beat the bye week?
Yes, I believe so. So you have all of these different rules of engagement that are in the current landscape of what's going on in football. You've got NIL, you have all these budgets, you have these contracts and payments to meet and all these kinds of things, and you're trying to figure out how to navigate it. With all of these transfers that you bring in, you're sitting there and you're going, okay, Bubba Cunningham, I think what he wanted to do, the athletic director at UNC, he wanted to make a big splash because North Carolina traditionally as a football program, they're okay.
They're okay. Not great.
They can get your 9 wins. They can get a 10-win season if you get a bowl game. But I think that Bubba Cunningham, what he wanted to do was bring football along with the history of the basketball program and give the program a push into the future. I get what Bubba Cunningham is trying to do. So what do? You bring in Bill Belichick. You bring in that coaching staff. And because of their history and because of everything that they have been able to build in the past, you can sit there and go, all right, I know what you can do. I need you to translate that from the National Football League to what we have in college. And that is something that is a tough task. And you're seeing just how tough it is literally for UNC to do it. When you have a director of player personnel,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what you have those kinds of things on this roster now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a difficult thing to navigate when you're trying to sit there and be something new, and there's no level of patience because you are who you are. You bring in your son. I think that this was the end game anyway, that Bill would set the program up so his son would eventually end up being the head coach in Chapel Hill. But all of these moving parts, front office, personnel, directors of player personnel, assistant coaches, all of the money that is being invested. When you've got Mike Lombardi is listed as the general manager of UNC football. I was thinking he was more like a director of player personnel, but he's given the GM title. Translating a GM title to the college game in the current landscape, that's a tall order, and right now it has just turned into basically the car crash that I'm sure a lot of folks were hoping it would be. It's like, oh, he's going to the college game? Okay, great. Yeah, we'll show you. And it has just turned into this absolute car crash at North Carolina.
I don't know what the percentage of fans of him at UNC are, or in college, or whoever, but you may have some that are praying that he stays. You may have some that are praying that he leaves. And if there's a better place to pray, I don't know what better place there is than Chapel Hill. Let's continue on. I want to talk about this because you had some great comments last week about LeBron James and his Hennessy ad that he disguised as being I may be done after this season 23. So he teased the big announcement on social media. It did look like a retirement press conference that, again, the decision. So tired of that. We went through that last week. So Lakers fans, John, they paid almost close to $1,000 US to get into the arena for the first game of the farewell season. I said this to you. I said to you that some of the tickets I saw after he teased whatever he was going to do at that time, a lot of people thought, oh, you know what, he's done. I need to see him before he ends his career. I said to you that the ticket prices jumped and they skyrocketed. So as it turns out, the Hennessy, the announcement, the sponsorship, for all these ticket prices, one certain ticket holder, it's ticked off that he is now suing LeBron James. He has about a 0 chance of winning that, John, as insert whatever here.
2 words for anyone in this situation, and I will go ahead and put them in air quotes. Assumed risk. Look it up. It's a legal term.
And hey, those may be 2 words, but they're powerful.
When Ryan and I are playing golf, and we're playing golf inside on a golf course that happens to have homes that just happen to be off the fairway, if either of us, well, in my case, it would be a slice. For you, it would be a hook.
It would.
So if that was to happen off the tee, and we were to have the golf ball off the tee land on the roof of the house, and it dislodged, some shingles or something, and the shingle, creates a gap in the roof space, and the next time later that afternoon it rains and it goes, and the rain goes through where that shingle used to be. Yes, it would be the neighborly thing to kind of sit there and pay for the shingle to be replaced and all of that kind of stuff. But it is assumed risk when you buy a house that is next to a golf course. It is assumed risk when you buy a ticket and then somebody comes up sick. It is assumed risk when you buy a ticket and a rock concert has to be canceled because somebody's voice doesn't hold up. It normally would get rescheduled. But when you have something, when you take a leap of logic like these individuals did, thinking, oh my God, it's over, calm down, let it happen, find out what's going on. Don't drop dime on something when you don't have the entire information. I will go back and say it was a tremendous marketing campaign for #HennessyVSOP. Do not get me wrong. It was great. But that's because you exhibit the patience and let the whole thing play out. Then you come up with your answer instead of, oh my God, he's retiring. Calm down. Let it play out. Don't drop. What is the significant other of this individual thinking now? I'd love to know. You bought this ticket, now you're stuck with it. And I'm guessing that the honeydew list is going to get very, very big in short order inside that household, especially when the legal fees add up and you end up with what you got.
What would have made this even worse is LeBron's going to be out for the first 3-4 weeks, so he'll miss 5 games. He's got sciatica. So imagine this individual purchased a ticket in the first number of games, and then he ended up realizing that LeBron can't even play. He would sue him doubly. He would sue him for, hold on a second, now you're not playing, even though you are playing, I'm going to raise you 1 and fine you 2.
Your tickets need to be just taken away.
I know. Very quickly, because we're up against the clock, the McDavid contract, John, we talked about it last week, and it's absolutely fantastic for a team-friendly perspective. 2 years, 25, AAV of 12.5. That kicks in 26, 27. So many people are looking at different comparables across sports, not hockey, but in sports. I'm going to throw some names at you with this. Cooper Flagg, 15.7 mil, if I do the math correctly, carry the one at the 3 mile. Oh, yeah, he makes more than McDavid will on an AAV. Mitchell Robinson of the Knicks at 15. George Russell, 15. These are different sports. Andrew Benintendi at 15. Lloyd Cushenberry.
God bless you.
Tennessee, Gesundheit, at 12.5. I think this whole thing about comparables is one thing, but if you look at and you listen to the names I just listed off, this is McDavid wanting to win. So before everyone goes out and says, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous compared to so-and-so, a guy on the bench in the NBA. I mean, you and I can play in the bench in the NBA. We can make 20 mil. Not 20, but we could do pretty well.
Kick back like the best of them.
Exactly. Play a minute if for that, do warm-ups, we get $10 million. That's fine.
Sure.
But don't compare, because what McDavid's doing is winning, and he wants to win first. So that's why he left all this money on the table. Still, hats off to the guy. It's a great deal.
I mean, he wants to win, and he wants to have his team invest in others. So you can fill in those gaps that you thought you had last year that you didn't have when it came to depth or position or what you think you needed on the power play and special teams or what have you to help you get to that championship. A, he's doing that. B, he's going to the end of the CBA. He and his agent ain't no dummies.
Yeah.
You're getting money, you're getting paid, and then you go up to the work stoppage, which probably is going to happen in 2 years as everybody tries to negotiate everything. And man's been paid, and he's going to have his free agency status dangling as this CBA is being discussed for the new CBA. Smart 3D Vulcan chess by McDavid on multiple fronts.
He knows what he's doing. Last one before we head out here. Carlos Alcaraz is headlining the Aussie Open's first one-point slam. So, don't know if you heard about this.
No.
But, so here this is. It's going to be in the Aussie Open in 2026. And what's going to happen is that players, amateur players, you and I can go if we want. We can take on Alcaraz for a prize of $1 million. So here's what it is.
Yeah.
Each match, it's only one single point. It's only 1 point. So whoever decides to get the first serve, that's decided with a gentleman's round of rock, paper, scissors. So whoever wins gets to serve first. If you win the point, you move on. If you lose, you're done. So it's 1 point, John. It's a tournament, 1 point to get off of Alcaraz, and you move on. And whoever ends up winning this thing gets $1 million. I would give it a shot. I wouldn't do well, but I'd give it a shot.
And the key is to make sure that you have the serve, because
exactly, that's such a key.
You've got to make sure that you win the toss, so you have the serve, and then you just have to place it, and then you end up getting the 1 point win. That's the key in all of this. If Carlos Alcaraz wins the toss in rock, paper, scissors, and he serves against you, you're dead. You're done. Unless he wants to sit there and dance around a little bit and play with you and make you run from one end to the other and just have a good old time with it. But if you're serious and you win the toss and you get the serve, then you get to smash it and just smash it right in people, just hit it into the body and then get rid of that point as soon as humanly possible. So that way you're good to go and you walk away with 7 figures at the end of it all. But you've got to do the best part of rock, paper, scissors, and maybe do the Joey Tribbiani thing of,
Mm-hmm.
What's that? It's fire, That's probably you got to think about it. It's, fire probably beats scissors, and
Mm-hmm.
fire probably beats rock. Fire burns paper, so maybe you just pull the Joey Tribbiani and go fire and rock, paper, scissors, and have
I
everybody.
think that's kind of what you do. It's like in multiple choice. If you don't know, then go with C.
I thought it was
More
B.
than likely you're going to get it done.
I thought it was B.
I thought it was C.
I thought it was C.
Oh,
I thought it was
here
B.
we go.
Yeah.
Well, now we're going to... So maybe it's B if there's 3. If it's A, B, C, maybe it's C if there's 4.
Okay.
All right.
That's.
I always thought it was C. C worked for me.
I always
in case
said,
anybody...
it was B for me.
Oh, okay. There you go. You see, we're
Yeah,
different.
and I just completely and totally had nothing in the SATs at all. Everybody beat my score. I was lucky to bubble my name in correctly and get the 400 points.
Oh boy. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours and everybody there. And when we reconvene, I believe we would get to reconvene on Indigenous appreciation. So that'll be Indigenous recognition. So that'll be good stuff coming up. But yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everybody up there this weekend. I know it's a big weekend in the CFL as everybody tries to figure out where they're going to be in the standings. Hockey's getting up and running. So that means we get to all pull our hair out about our favorite teams between now and the springtime.
That's why I got my hat on.
That's why I don't have mine on, so I can go like this and sit there and go, great, Mitch Marner, you're in Vegas and you sit there and you try to win a shootout. And we got at least one stop and got the extra point by winning in the shootout the other day for my LAK. So that's where we are.
Talk Monday.
This has been Pucks in 7, available on the SiriusXM app and wherever you get your podcasts.